Welcome to Coach's Bench. Week number 5 of the high school football season. Blue Raiders, a huge win last week up at Farragut. We'll talk with Coach Chandler Tygard about that in just a second. This is Coach's Bench, brought to you each week by Mark Smith and all the good people at McDonald's restaurants in this area. We appreciate McDonald's sponsoring this program. I want to take a moment and thank CHS Live, Dale Halfacre and his crew here at CHS Live doing the video for us, and we appreciate it very much. And speaking of CHS Live, they were up at Farragut last week. We were happy to be the audio for the Cleveland Farragut game on CHS Live, so Dale, once again, thanks for that. We have to give some credit today. The guys behind the scenes doing all the work today, Tanner Stone, Alex Escobar, Abdiel Allende. Guys, thank you very much for the work you're doing. Coach Tygard, my opinion, last week was a thing of beauty and the best game the Blue Raiders have played since Maryville of last year.
Yeah, we played great. So it's we played well for 4 quarters. Exactly the way you're supposed to. We did make some mistakes. We had 2 turnovers on the first play of a new drive, so we got to cut those out. But we had 79 snaps of offense. That's a lot. So we could have been up there in the 85-90 mark. That would have been awesome. But, you know, good game overall, offense, defense, even special teams, again, did a great job. So big win for the Raiders.
Huge win. Not only beating the number 6 team in the state at their place, first time in who knows how long, maybe forever.
It was the first time ever, yeah.
And, too many trips to Farragut in years past for the Blue Raiders and come back empty-handed. Not this time. Cleveland outplayed them. I thought you started the game, you smacked them in the mouth, you were up 14-0. They never recovered.
Yeah, we had a fast start, so we actually kicked the ball off. We had great kickoff coverage all night long, so Coach Jones' special teams units have been doing so well. And, you know, they went 3 and out immediately. We get the ball. We go down a long drive and score. We put Brian Beard in it as the starting running back, and he had an amazing game. I think he ran for 140 yards, something crazy. And so he did great. And then, you know, we went up 14-0. And but I told the kids, I said, look, Powell went up 14-0 on Farragut. Farragut's a good program. Coach Courtney does a great job. They're going to come back. And sure enough, they came back to tie it. And then, you know, we just kind of stepped on them and kept it going. We had a big score right before the half, you know, to go up 1 score before halftime. And then, you know, they tried to kick a field goal. And we iced the kicker, and we used 3 timeouts there. And then LJ tipped it, and he ended up, you know, missing the field goal right before half. So that was a big one. And then coming out of halftime, you know, to go get another score when we got the ball in the second half, that was huge too. So it was the first time we played 4 quarters the way you're supposed to.
Not only did you start fast, but as you pointed out, when they would score, you would answer. And so, to me, the momentum was just on the Cleveland sideline all game long. And once again, to use the phrase again, it was a thing of beauty and thoroughly enjoyed and well-deserved. You had talked about last week, like in Monday's practice after the game on Friday night at Walker, a little heart-to-heart meeting. I think apparently you got some people's attention, and they responded very positively.
So you don't really want to be doing those week 4 of the season. Hopefully you don't have to do that. But, you know, we did come together, and we called some things out and what needed to change. And, you know, a lot of credit to those kids. They know who they are. But they made a drastic effort to change for the better this week. And then even on game day, you know, when we had some adversity and our quarterback makes a mistake, well, now the offensive line's picking them up. And that really hadn't been happening until this past week. So they see now if you can do it correctly, you know, you got a chance and we could be pretty good. But you got to do it every single week. You can't just have a big win. And then, you know, now we're going to Rhea County this week, which is a traditionally very tough place to play.
You're telling me.
We looked up the record the last 11 years. They're 3 times more likely to win at home than on the road. So Coach Pemberton does a great job. He's been there 11 years. He's only lost 15 games at home total. So, you know, you got to put the Farragut thing. You can talk about it, but you also got to put it in the rearview mirror too.
It's hard for me.
Yeah. Well, it's a big win. And, you know, non-region games and non-region rivalries are big personally, and everybody gets really excited about them. But ultimately, we're trying to win a playoff game. We'll make the playoffs. win a playoff game for the first time since 2013. Well, to do that, you have to win region games. And so that Farragut game was massive. And then, we've got Bearden coming up here in a couple weeks too.
And that win, not only you kind of put away the past history of going to Farragut, but as you pointed out, it's a region win, and that is so huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal, especially in our region, because we match up with the Dobbins-Bennett Kingsport region, and if we have to travel in the first round of the playoffs, that is a long drive.
It is.
In Alabama, we would historically stay in a hotel if we were going that far. Most Tennessee teams don't do that, but if you're just driving up day of and you're taking a 3.5 hour bus ride, it's tough to get off that bus and win. And so the whole key is region games, and you want to host that game. So then now they're taking that 3-hour bus ride down to Cleveland, and it gives you a massive advantage in the first round.
Does it ever? Once again, congrats to Cleveland on beating Farragut last week, doubling up the score on the Admirals. It's going to be hard for me, but we're going to move on to this week right after this break. The Coach's Bench, each week, sponsored by Mark Smith and everybody at McDonald's, and we'll be back in a moment. Well, Coach, segment 2, and we have to go to the Rhea County game, second team you've seen this year with the wing tee, and they've done it so long, it's ingrained in them, and they do a great job. In the past, they have bunched their linemen shoulder to shoulder and just blast away and just keep on, and then maybe try to establish that and then throw a pass when you don't expect it. Any difference this year?
Yeah, so they're actually not running the wing tee this year.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, that's a big difference. So they've gotten an I formation.
Really?
Yep, so they're running a lot of power I sets, unbalanced sets. They'll play with 1 or 2 receivers, tight end wings. They're still running similar plays. So they're still running trap, power toss, ISO, traditional power, counter tray. But they do a great job. But the biggest difference, I guess, is the way they break the huddle is really interesting. We used to call it a twister huddle. I got it from Coach Malzahn in Auburn. But the center leaves first with the receivers, okay? And then they wait till they're set. Then the lineman comes sprinting to the line of scrimmage and snap it as fast as possible. So it's tough on the defense because you can't tell where the tight ends are. They're tight ends and fullbacks and all these things, and they'll offset a fullback here to run toss. It's kind of slick the way they do it. So to practice that this week has been a challenge because it's something we don't do. We're no huddle all the time. So for our defense, we got to give them a good look. And so I was a scout team quarterback yesterday, and we're running to the line and snapping it as fast as we can go. And
can I get some film on that?
No. But I was dropping some dots yesterday, so we had some waggle passes I hit. But Rhea County will sneak in a pass as soon as you least expect it. I think they have the leading rusher in the area for a career. He does a great job, number 32. They've got some big, strong kids. They got some good athletes, and just traditionally, it's so hard to play there. So it's a big challenge.
Do the linemen ever get called, flagged for running up and not getting set before the snap?
Not for them, no. So this is all they do. So they do get set. They get set for a second, but it is fast. And if you're not used to it and you're not prepared for it, you're right. They get in the stance and they are blowing off the ball, and they're just down blocking everybody and kicking out. And it's tough for a defense, but run defense is our strength this year.
Right.
And so we would much rather see a heavy run team than a heavy pass team. Farragut kind of went air raid in the second half, and that gave us a little trouble. So we had to really empty the bucket, and we put in all kinds of different personnel groupings. I think at one time we had 6-7 DBs on the field against Farragut, where it's the opposite this week. We got to get all the big boys out there, and they're going to try to hold the ball. They're at home, so they're going to run all 40 seconds after every single snap, kind of like Rhea County tried to do. And so it's not going to be a high-scoring game, but we just need to execute at a higher clip because we're not going to get 14 possessions. We're going to get 9 or 8.
The situation of Coach Pemberton going away from what's been the bread and butter the last few years, you think it's because of that great tailback he's got, or?
That's usually why you would do it. Is you've got one just unbelievable tailback and a fullback, but maybe you don't have 3 guys that are all kind of similar. I don't know exactly why that they're changing, but it's still equally as tough to defend. So it's not like they're just handing it to the tailback in the old I formation days. They're going to hand fullback trap is probably their best play, to their middle linebacker number 0. The good part for us is they have a lot of kids that play both ways too, just like we do. So we've got to try to push the tempo and see if we can play our style of football and not get in the ground and pound, just slow trotting style that they're going to try to get to play. So it's going to be an interesting contrast, very similar to the McMinn County game.
One last question about Rhea County. And kickoff 7 o'clock tonight at Evansville. And if you can't be there, the game will be on Mix 104.1. Coach, what about the D for Pemberton?
So they do a good job. It's very different. So they run a 3-3 stack tower defense, true cover 2, and they don't really change out of it very much. So they want to do some good things up front to where they play a tight front, similar to like Georgia and Florida and some of these teams, to where they play a 0 and 2 4 eyes, and they want the ball to bounce, while keeping number 0, their Mike linebacker, unblocked. So basically, they're going to try to secure our 5 offensive linemen with their 3 defensive linemen. And then the Mike linebacker right behind him, you can't get to him because of what they're doing up front. And so he makes a million tackles. I don't know how many tackles he has, but I can tell you it's a lot. And then they stack another linebacker safety hybrid right behind him. So they put 3 guys in a line, and they keep 2 of them unblocked most of the game. And so it's a challenge. You got to be able to get up to those guys. And so really that's going to be the key. You'll see if number 0 gets blocked, and if the guy behind him is getting blocked, then you're going to do a good job. But nobody has really got to him yet. So they haven't given up a lot of points. They stop the run, and then it's hard to throw because they double team out wide, on the receivers. So they're definitely going to double team, Braden and Aaron and some of these receivers we have. And so you have to be able to run the ball. If we have 7 and they have 6, we should be able to run the ball, but what they're doing schematic-wise makes it hard.
We'll take our final break, come back and talk more of Blue Raider football here on Mix 104.1. Welcome to segment number 3 of the Coach's Bench, brought to you each week by Mark Smith, everybody at the area McDonald's restaurants. Thanks to those people for bringing you Coach's Bench with Coach Tygard. Coach, you mentioned a while ago about the scout team, and I guess unsung heroes in a lot of ways. Some of the people that show up every day and give a good effort on the scout team.
Oh, we got a lot. So that's really our futures team, our JV program, and that we ask a lot for them. So on Monday they have to come out and practice in our full pads practice. We do team, we do short yardage goal line, and then they have to go play a game. Right. So a lot of people won't have those guys practice on Monday, and then our guys went and. They played with Alcoa's JV on Monday, and they did a great job there. They do a good job each week. So when we give out helmet stickers, like you'll see the Raider heads on the back of the helmet, we gave them out on Sunday for we rushed for more than 300 yards. Yes. Well, the whole offense gets that because it includes the receivers block and the O-line, the running backs, but also everyone that plays scout defense that week gets it. And we do the same thing. We had less than 100 yards rushing that Farragut had, so everyone that played scout offense gets a Raider head. We do Scout Team Players of the Week. We do a lot of different things. There's so many kids like Jonathan Ronca and Landry and all the Scout offensive linemen. Gage Parker's playing the Scout running back this week, and he's just getting blasted yesterday. That's part of being a sophomore. It's hard, as you get to go out there with those guys. But, we even get some that only play offense. So, like Sam Sarton is not playing a lot of defense.
Right.
Okay, well, he does all the team offense, and then he goes and plays Scout Team tight end. Our offensive line, our starting O-line, plays a lot of scout team because we've got to get the best look we can. So what we try to do is we'll do different periods to where, Neil Armstrong and Will Brantley, y'all are in at scout team tackle. Okay, well, the next period we'll put the young guys in, but then now Stonewall's in at center and Joster's in at guard. And so you have to mix and match the old guys and the young guys because, honestly, if we just – we can barely block our D-line right now with all 5 of our starting guys. So if we put any scout team guys out there, it's just a tough situation to block Nate Carter and AJ and Gabe and Zoe and some of these kids. So we have to mix and match with the O-line, and sometimes we'll even just do the whole varsity O-line on scout offense.
To wrap up Coach's Bench here on Mix 104.1, a couple of keys to a Raider victory tonight and a celebration back across the river in Cleveland.
I'm glad this is our last road game on this 3-game stretch. So I'm excited about homecoming next week to actually play a home game. We've only had one this year. Now the keys are to play our style of football and not get into theirs, and that's going to be their key too. So we want to push the tempo. We want to snap it every 10 seconds. It's going to be difficult. Probably being there and having that a different referee association that's not used to it, and if they can start to hold the ball and get 5 yards a pop, then it becomes that style game. Where in fact we want it to be, boom, let's go, just like we did at Farragut.
Yes.
Our tempo finally showed the way how dangerous it can be, even though we're not as deep as I'd like to be, but we are in good shape. So you saw against Farragut, the whole for 3 quarters, we're running plays as fast as we can go, and they struggle to get lined up.
They do.
Now, Rhea County will be lined up because they don't do as much on defense, so that will help them there. But, it's still different. Just like we can't simulate the way they practice and break the huddle and run their plays. It's very tough for them to simulate snapping the ball every 10 to 13 seconds. So we just got to see which kind of style, wins out.
Hopefully next week we'll be talking with Coach Tygard after another Cleveland victory. Blue Raiders, number 10 in the state, 3-1 on the year. Very successful campaign so far, thanks to the players, the coaches, cheerleaders, dance team, fans, administration, and everybody listening. This is Terry Evans saying, see you next week.
Go Raiders.